tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like it's all filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square so I can see who's best. Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like it's all filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square so I can see who's best. Right, left, then left, right. I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God like it's all filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square so I can see who's best.
Before we start the podcast today, I just want to give a little shout out to one of the sponsors of the show, Portland Nutrition Corner. For those who don't know, I work there part-time Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2. We got everything. As you see on the homepage on the website here, pncmain.com, amino acids, fat burners, fish oils, general health, greens formulas. I mean, it's all there. We got it all. Pre-workouts, proteins, sleep aids, all of it. Brands, we got all the brands that are popular in the industry. Axe & Sledge, 5% Nutrition, I-Prevail Supplements. Free shipping of orders over $99. And if we don't have it on the website, give a call. I'll bring up the phone number right now. And we can take phone orders and have it sent to you. Shoot us an email on socials, PNC Main on Instagram. Give us a follow. Come in and say what's up. Once again, Portland, Maine Nutrition Corner, 85 Western Ave, South Portland, Maine. Enjoy the show.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How's it going?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm so close.
I feel like it's like always trying to figure out, like, I moved my camera like on this side this time just to see if I liked it better, but I feel like, oh, it doesn't really look any different, I guess. Are you the type of person that's like always on time or early for everything?
Oh my God. I drive myself crazy with how early I am.
You're one of those.
I am one of those. I'll be 15, 20 minutes early for everything. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm like the opposite, the entire opposite. I'm always late. And Michael's that type of personality where he's always early for everything.
You're
so
the
then
opposite.
the two together is very, very interesting. So
yeah.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up, guys? Ladies? What up? Episode 2. It's crazy. I'm eating my meal. Sorry, this is probably rude.
No,
this is what we do on here. So what's up? How's everybody's week been?
busy,
Busy?
very busy.
Like work busy and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I volunteered to help a friend paint her new house today, so did that.
So you looked for paint for a new house?
I helped her paint.
Oh, helped her paint. Gotcha. Yeah,
Which
that's
wasn't bad.
I
It
feel
was
like
cool.
that's such an undertaking.
It is. It's a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you don't expect it to be, and then you're just like, we've been painting for like 3 hours, and we covered like one wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it at least like a new house so you didn't have to move all the furniture and everything, or?
She hired movers. Thank God.
Okay.
So I didn't have to help with that part. She just
smart.
to help with painting. So,
dude, at this point in life, like, I mean, we definitely don't plan on moving anytime soon.
No.
Movers, I'll figure out how to afford it. You know what I mean? I'm not moving my own shit anymore. I'm paying somebody to do it.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling myself every time I move. But then at the same time, like I start packing and I'm like, I feel like I live so light at this point.
Yeah.
It's like there's not even much. I might as well just do it myself.
Well, I mean, when you've gone like from apartment to apartment, like that's how you learn to be, because you don't want to, like, you know, like I could be moving next year, you know, like I don't want to have to haul a whole freaking household of stuff with me, which is ridiculous. But yeah, we had a little fun weekend. I have a first-time figure client who's going to be doing one of the MPC Natural shows in Connecticut, which I'm excited about.
Nice.
Her and her boyfriend, who also happens to be one of Michael's clients, came up from Boston for the weekend, or just like not even like the weekend. They came in Friday, so yesterday night, and we picked him up from the bus and brought him up, and they just kind of stayed in this room, actually, in our guest room, and we trained with them and stuff, and did some like posing and everything, and did like the whole like bodybuilding weekend thing, and just kind of like hung out and cooked their food and stuff for them, and just kind of gave them like the whole thing, which was kind of cool. But and they're super young. I think Max is 20 and Ella is she's got to be like right around the same, like 19, 20 or so. So like they're youngins, you know what I mean? Like they're really like just starting out. But so it's pretty cool to kind of like host that and have that for them, and they definitely felt like this is just like so nice to like not have to like feel pressure to like do anything. So we literally were like, we don't do anything on the weekends. Like we just chill, we watch YouTube, we just like hang out and train, obviously. And so
isn't it funny, like as bodybuilders, what we find to be fun? You know what I mean? It's just so different than like the average person.
Right?
Yeah, especially like at these ages.
Yeah.
Like going to a new grocery store, I get so excited. So excited.
Gas stations.
I'm like, we gotta go.
Oh, I love a good
gas stations.
Yeah.
Talk about a good gas station.
Yeah.
Okay, like what kind of energy drinks they got here?
Yeah,
literally.
That's why when you say they're so young, it's like, man, when I was that age, like I just wanted to go. It blows my mind how young some of these kids that are getting into it are. I could never imagine being so structured at 19, 20, hell, even 25, honestly.
Reading this stuff from a dorm room. I mean, granted, like I've done it in like apartments that could be considered like dorm living, you know what I mean? But having to like share like a mini fridge and stuff like that and figure out how to cook your foods and
waking up early to do cardio at 20 years old.
What was that, Jeff?
Waking up early to do cardio at 20 years old.
No,
dude, no way. I don't know, but I feel like it's becoming, and maybe it's just because like we're in it, obviously, so we see it. But like I feel like it's becoming like more and more popular with like the younger crowd, and like which is kind of like a good thing, you know what I mean? Like to be fair, like I never really had that like young 20-something, college experience, living in the dorms, going out partying and stuff like that. I had Quinn pretty young, but I don't know. I feel like I hear like both stories or like both ends. Like you kind of should experience that, you know what I mean? Or like kind of know that's out, or like you got some stories, Hunter?
You didn't miss much.
I mean, I wouldn't say you didn't miss much, but at the same time, like I don't know if I would get to this point and like if I took it super seriously right out the gate, would I like get to my 30s and be like, oh, now to go party?
Like a little burnt out or something? Yeah.
I don't know. You never know until you know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I feel that way. I feel like starting, well, I don't know, like Ben started when he was like 17, like still in high school, like trying to start like bodybuilding. And he's 26 now, and like he's still so young. And it's like, oh my God, you could do this for another, like, I don't know, 15 years or plus maybe, like depending.
That's crazy.
And I just can't imagine starting that young and like still, I don't know, like
in it, you know what I mean? Like day to day.
Yeah. So
I mean, same with Michael. I mean, he didn't start super young, but he's been in it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of like just starting, you know what I mean? And he's kind of thinking like maybe like 5 more years or so, 4 or 5 more years. But yeah, I can't fathom like doing this at that age, like knowing like, where I was in life and like, like how, I don't know, how are these kids affording this? How are these kids
that's a whole other aspect of it. Like, man, oh man. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I go back and forth with it, right? Because it's like, I don't know, we've lived like the early experiences of bodybuilding and stuff, and kind of like we know like the ins and outs and like the what we did and maybe wasn't right, or what we followed that we had no idea like what we were doing and stuff. But I don't know, it kind of feels like not an obligation, but like kind of like a you know, here, let us help you. You know what I mean? Like, we know, like, you know, what we went through and how much it sucked, or like the mistakes that we made. Like, you know, let's help you not make those same mistakes. But then again, it's just like, you know, do you have to make those mistakes to kind of really learn from that and like, you know, be able to appreciate? Because I can look back now and be like, dude, some of the shit I was eating for food, like,
so bad, so bad.
I think we should go around and like, what was like the worst? Like, you look back now and you're like, why the hell did I eat that?
Okay. All right. So I remember there was one day I was like, oh, I'm going to go heavy at the gym tomorrow. And at this time I was training at a Planet Fitness, had no idea what I was doing. And I worked at Subway and I was like, okay, I need to carb load. Right. So I like got all these chocolate chip Subway cookies and I just started housing them because I was like, I gotta go heavy tomorrow. Like,
I can do that.
Fuel. Like this is what you do, right? And now,
that is hilarious.
No PRs.
Like, what you don't know, you know. Like, honestly, like, come on, Hunter, those cookies are not even that good. Subway cookies are. I honestly, so we got Quinn Subway like the other night or whatever. They had like the cookies. I was like, you know what? Michael likes a good chocolate chip cookie. So like I got one of those and I got one of like I think that like the white raspberry macadamia, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like bit into it and was just like,
man,
I would rather get like grocery store cookie. You know what I mean? Like this isn't even that like good or worth the, you know, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like 100 calories, 30 calories, whatever it is to adore having this cookie right now. But
isn't it funny how our taste buds change though? Because
I was like, just gonna say that.
I would just as soon go home and have my cream. This could just still be that I'm still like, you know, post prep, but I would just go home and have my cream of rice, to be honest with you.
Right? Like just getting back to routine and just like how much more like
I love my meals at this point, you know, so.
And you almost just kind of like, I don't know, it could be different for you ladies, but I almost feel like once I have like a day or two of like eating off plan or like it's post show, you know, you have Saturday, Sunday, and then it's just like by the time Monday rolls around, I'm just like, I'm ready to just go back to the norm because I don't know if it's just like an anxiety thing or like just like, I know this is just kind of, I don't know, this is what you do. You know, it's Monday, we start over to the plan. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I definitely get sick of it after a couple of days, like after a show. I mean, I'll take my 2 days, like my Saturday, Sunday, but it's just, I don't know. It just, you don't feel great.
No,
I think it's more of that. I'm just like, I just don't feel very good, like eating this way. And I just want to go back to like what I was doing. So I don't know. But
has anyone had like a really like post show, like, what was your first post show like? Yeah, what was your first post show like?
So I started out powerlifting. But back in 2021, I was like, I cut weight for a powerlifting meet and I was like, I think that I could do bodybuilding. So I went for it. Did 3 shows back to back and I had no idea what to expect post show. I did not know that the rebound is hard. It's almost harder than dieting.
So true.
Yeah.
It's, oh man, because once you open that door, it is hard to
Pandora's box, man.
Yeah.
So I binged hard. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would eat, I would like just shit, just absolute like cookies, everything. And I got big. It was
what was the I was gonna say, like, what was the weight and the amount of time? Because I know what I've done. It's like, woo. Okay.
Yeah. So Tampa Pro, I was in 2021. I was on stage. I was like 153, and within like a month, I was back up into the 180s, 190s.
Yeah. Sounds pretty much right on to one of my first like post shows. Like, and you don't realize, but then again too, like we have to think that like when we're like stage lean, like the norm is like 10 pounds heavier than that. You know what I mean? Or like kind of getting back to just like putting water back into your system.
Water back on,
You know, so but yeah, I remember my entire like prep, I was getting like all the different cereals. I was stocking up for post show, dude.
That's
like,
my thing is
like,
cereal.
Yeah, all like the collabs of all like the candies and shit like that, and like you're just like you're in this mindset like, oh my god, that's got to be so good. Like, what happens if it's seasonal and it's not there anymore, and I can't try it or whatever. It's like that was always my thing of like, like obviously now like we know food's gonna be there, and like whatever. Like I actually have some moments too now, but regardless, like
I do
just
too.
remember like a pantry. Like I had like above my fridge there was just like shit and like Pop-Tarts, fucking all of it. And I went to town. And even worse, no one prepared me. So I was like casually like daily living before like bodybuilding, like a size like 10, 12, something like that. Like pant size, whatever, body size.
Yeah.
And this was like the first time in my life I've been this small, like like my first prep. So like obviously like you know how much muscle, you know what I mean? Like it's all baby stuff. And like, so I was like a whopping like 130, something like that. And I probably hadn't been that small since like 6th grade, dude, like 6th, 7th grade or something like that. So I was just like, I don't need these size 12 jeans anymore. Like threw away all of clothes. And dude, when I tell you like a month show, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't button these pants. I can't put these pants on. I need to go fucking shopping and re-get a whole new wardrobe. Yeah. It's like those little things like you don't like you wouldn't have known, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, oh yeah, like this is my new body now. Like I'm gonna be 130, 140 pounds, and just completely out the window. Nope.
I did that same thing, but I bought clothes in prep while I was small.
Oh yeah, of course.
Coming out of prep, they, I'm pulling up shorts that don't go past my thighs.
Yeah. And then it doesn't even like look the same anyways. You know what I mean? Like even if it did fit me, like it's not going to hug my body the same way. It's not going to look the same. I'm like, I completely have a wardrobe for like prep and then not. Yep. Like winter, well, for me, I'll be like for winter and like, summer clothes, it's like the same thing, it goes away in a coats. And then when prep comes around, got all my cute little outfits and stuff that I can wear to work and everything. And completely different.
I definitely do like tend to shop more though during prep.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh, I look really cool right now. Like I want to get some new gym clothes. So that's kind of like, because you can't eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, okay, like what am I gonna put in that place? So it's like usually shopping.
Like you just said, like it's like the whole like dopamine or like that fix of like you need something else. And that's actually funny because that was gonna be one of my questions of like what has been like one of your like prep purchases, or like what have you ever had something that you've like glommed onto or like fixated on, or because I feel like it has been like clothes, like a lot for me, like clothes or like Facebook marketplace.
Do you want to know what's weird?
For me, it's prep, and like especially like with like the house and everything, and it's still relatively new. We're still trying to like fill it out and stuff, and put like little knickknacks and everything like here and there. So like I would find these cute little like, and like I have like a weird eclectic taste. Like I've got like I don't know, like look this, like we have like swords and like that's like a freaking like urn thing, whatever, for like beer from like like we just have like such weird like little things here and there. So like I was finding so much stuff on Facebook, like to the point where Michael's like, you need to stop bringing shit home. Like stop, like this is too much. But like I don't know, like I love a good deal,
I love a good deal.
I grew up on like hand-me-downs and like Goodwill, you know what I mean? So like I'm going back to my roots with it. But any like prep purchases that you're just like, man, thinking back, like I probably didn't have to buy that.
I saved all my prep buying. I don't know, I think I was so just like busy with work and prep itself this year. And so like I've never done a national show before. So I was just like save money. And I was just spending so much money on like the things I would need for the show. And then as soon as I got home, I just went crazy.
Yeah.
It was like Nike was having sales and I was like, oh, I need some shoes. I need some sweatpants. I don't have
my pro card. I deserve it.
So I was like, congratulations. And so, but now I'm cut off. So it's like cut off. I just don't need to make eye contact with that Chase app for a little while.
That's another good one though. Like prep purchases is shoes. So like clothes and shoes.
I did so good for so long, and then I got home and I'm just like, all right, well here we go.
What's so funny is like I'll do that, but then like I won't make a $10 purchase on like I don't know, something stupid or small that like I definitely need, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I really could use it in my day to day, but I just won't make the nah, maybe next paycheck, you know, next Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I need something to open the floodgates, you know, and then it's a free for all.
Yeah, no, I feel like you're like such a different, I don't know, prep makes you do some weird things.
I know I didn't do like I don't know, I've done so many preps, but like one specifically that I remember, it's a purchase that wasn't anything big like that I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have bought it. But I bought a coloring book and it's just so like out of my character, like to buy something like that. And I think I was just so like bored or just needed to like get out of my head that I'm like, I'm gonna get this coloring book and I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna color. Like that was where my mind went. So I just thought it was,
did you actually use it? And like
I did, and it actually helped. So
good prep.
Yeah.
I feel like I always want to like do little things like that. Like I, for some reason, like I really want to puzzle. Like I want like a really good like 1,000-piece puzzle order to like get lost in, but I feel like I never take like I could, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the night, like take like 10 minutes or something and work on it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what would pacify me? What would pacify me, like either in the ice bath or just like when I needed to like decompress in the sun, Sudoku or solitaire on my phone. I can just get lost.
Old lady.
I know. It's
I love that though.
And then I knit to fall asleep. No, I don't do that, but
I honestly was about to believe you.
I know. It would be fun,
so why not? But
anyway,
that's great.
That's funny.
So I know one thing that we all wanted to kind of delve into is the whole comparison game. Just with obviously the uptick in social medias and actually TikTok's getting banned. Are any of you guys like TikTokers?
I'm not. I won't, but I'm not going to make anything.
I'm not either. Are you a TikToker, Jessica?
I'm definitely not on it, but TikTok is my nightcap. But I'm not on like the fitness side of TikTok. Like I just want to get some laughs.
Rando videos,
yeah. So I'm a little bummed about that because like I don't find the funny reels on Instagram. I'm on the
You just have to like build your algorithm. You just gotta start like liking, like finding the shit and liking it, and it'll do it all for you.
Yeah, it's a process, I tell you what.
But that'll be interesting. I feel like the banning of TikTok is gonna be, I don't know. I feel like there are gonna be some people that'll like fall apart without it.
Oh yeah.
Well, because I feel like, you know, a lot of those younger kids kind of like we were talking about earlier, just I think that's how they kind of develop their brand or their influence or whatever.
Right.
You know, so
it's like without that, like how do you do it? You know?
Yeah.
Which part of it, I mean, that might be a good thing because
get kind of the content out of here.
Yeah.
I honestly, so I've never really like, I feel like I've never seen like TikToking or like someone, I don't know, influencing like in person. Like I've never seen somebody do it, but whenever I feel like I sit back and like I think about it, like watching it or whatever, I'm like, and like the music isn't there that you're hearing, you know what I mean? Like whatever music they put over it, and like they're in public or something, and it's just like, I don't know, maybe that's just my, you know, we're obviously at an age where like that isn't what we grew up on, so it's like weird and foreign to us, but I don't know, I just find that so bizarre, and I just can't get behind it. It's weird.
Yeah.
If it's gone, if more of it's gone, I'm not upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm pretty grateful that like when I found bodybuilding, it wasn't a thing. You know, it's like
when did you start again? What year? What year did you start?
Well, I guess to say when I got into bodybuilding, it was like late 2019, so that was fairly recent. But like prior to that,
it like truly like bodybuilding, yeah.
So like the first person that I really like became drawn to was Dana Lynn Bailey when she was doing like YouTube prep series, and then Meadows like on and then like was on YouTube, you know. Whereas like nowadays, it's like how complicated can we make things, and that's like people's first introduction to bodybuilding, you know. So
and I guess that kind of speaks on to like why I guess it can be like a little more intimidating, almost because it's just like there's too much out there, you know what I mean? Like there's like too much exposure to it,
a lot of noise, you know.
What was that?
Just a lot of noise, though. Not necessarily like.
For sure. I mean, and I guess I kind of, so I was around like 2017, 2018, but I also like, I knew nothing. And it was just like, for me, it was just like this local little small thing that like these, you know, local natural competitors that like only ever do like this one show that's around here. You know what I mean? So like, it wasn't like, I didn't really have like the full exposure, I guess, like some of the, you know, the up and comers or starting competitors are now, where it's like that's all you see, you know what I mean? And like having to sit there and be like, well, I don't look like her, like I don't look like him, so like why do I think I could do this? You know? But like I guess that was never like really, I don't know, I just did it. Like I didn't really think of, you know, who else looked like anything, or you know, like I don't know if that was just kind of my like naivete about it, or if it was just, I don't know, because we didn't really have a whole, well, I don't know, 2018 was still like very much like social media and like YouTubing and stuff like that was like really around. So I don't know. Maybe it was
but I mean, our cameras were like 2 megapixels, so you couldn't be
I feel like nowadays it's like everybody's content is so much more like high quality. And, like for you to do well on social media, like it almost has to be that way now. So it's like people are getting like the really like fancy expensive cameras and doing all these things like so that they can just make their social media better. But like I started in 2015 and really like, I mean, social media was around obviously, but definitely not even close to what it is now. So I wasn't even, I think I would post like once in a blue moon on there when I was like in the middle of my very first prep, and I definitely wasn't scrolling like what I do now. I'm like so guilty of it. So I think for me, like it would have been detrimental to bodybuilding for me, like if it would have been when I was starting out what it is now. Like, because I get those thoughts now, and I've been doing it for so long, the comparison game, you know, and I'm just glad that it wasn't like that when I started out. So,
and I feel like you're just like at this point, Alyssa, too, because like you have some skin in the game. It's been, you know, 10 freaking years, which is crazy. 10 years. Whoa.
I know.
But it's like you're mature enough to be able, or like equipped enough with the tools to be able to like kind of handle that kind of stuff. Like, oh, like, you know, obviously I know that like what really matters is like getting on stage in the tan under the lights. Like that's where the comparison matters, you know? Yeah. I mean, I definitely still like kind of get caught up in that. Like Jessica had posted recently one of her like in gym photos, and then my comment was like, damn, like I wish I freaking looked that jacked. You know what I mean? So it's just like you don't realize it, but like you're kind of constantly, even if it is that kind of like jokey, like self-deprecating way that I feel like a lot of bodybuilders do or have. I don't know. It's like it's very tricky. Like I can't imagine just where my mindset was when I was, you know, early 20s, and if I had to have, you know, be up against that, like, you know, I can see how it can cause like really serious like things like eating disorders and stuff like that. And, you know, people kind of get like a little too far and, you know, don't really know how to like reel it back in or something like that. And yeah, I don't know. So I would say if something like TikTok is like being banned and kind of giving us less of that, you know, that's awesome. But I don't know, like it's a double-edged sword too, right? Because I feel like Instagram and social media obviously has given me you know, the ability to reach out to people who I wouldn't have otherwise known or met or, you know, been able to relate to or converse with. And yeah, I don't know, like where do you guys kind of sit on the whole, do you still find that like you're comparing yourself to others, or does it like get to you at some points where you're just like, why do I do this? Obviously, because at the end of the day, like it's more reason than just like looking better than the next person, you know, but
yeah.
I just feel like I see some chicks sometimes, I'm like, God dang, you know, like.
I think a lot of this kind of actually ties into what we talked about just a little bit ago about, you know, learning as we go. And sometimes having to go through these things and experience like what not to do for ourselves to kind of learn how to do things. Because I do think this is something that like each one of us can go around and like offer some insight and share our experiences. But at the end of the day, like, it's kind of like a daily process of paying attention to your thought process and paying attention to where your mind goes, and like working on those insecurities, and like realizing like she looks incredible if I keep putting in the work like I have been. I'm checking the boxes every single day, and I trust myself. Like, I can probably get there too, because I think to really like get into this industry, it's something that like you just really have to put in the time and work. Like, you can be in it for 3 years and still not necessarily look like it, because I know like when I was 3 or 4 years in, I was like, when am I going to start looking like I lift? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like that second prep I did, like I definitely had to work on my mindset and not feeling like insecure. And what really helped me was just realizing like, if I saw a girl that I really like thought looked incredible, I would just be like, if I keep working and I trust myself to do the work, like I can get there too. But it really, I think a lot of it just ties into like not letting yourself feel like threatened or less than, so much as like, it's okay. Like I just need to work harder. Like I just need to keep putting in the work. And if you trust yourself, you're going to have less and less of those feelings of doubt. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That's how I kind of rationalize it anyway.
Yeah.
So I think like with that too, though, like there also comes a bit of like personal responsibility, or like, you know what I mean? Like, are you checking all the boxes? You know, like, are you kind of, you know, putting in the work that, you know, you see so-and-so doing on, you know, social media or whatever. So I think like, I don't know, that part of it too takes just like time. You know what I mean? That especially if you're starting out and like you're super young, you know, like you haven't even figured out life yet, you know, like
when you're young, it's like you just gotta go through some of this stuff, you know what I mean? And like learn it on your own, and kind of like realize a lot of this is like inner work that we need to work on. It's not like this other person making you feel some type of way. It's like maybe you feel a little guilty, like, oh, I skipped out on that cardio session, and maybe I shouldn't have done that, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like for me, I don't know if it almost feels like opposite. Like I think now I struggle with it a little bit more. I think because social media has gotten so much bigger, like in the last few years, where when I started, I think I was just so naive that I was like, oh yeah, like I'll turn pro. I'll like go to Olympia. You know what I mean? It was just like this just naive, like innocent, I guess, like mindset. Yeah. And I just like went for it and didn't have the influence of social media at that time as much at all as it is now. So now it's like that I've been doing it longer, and social media is a lot more, you know, prevalent and everything. We're seeing what everybody's doing. Definitely, like, I feel like now I'm having to work on that part of myself more than I did when I first started, where I'm like, okay, like just focus on yourself. Like I wouldn't even say so much that it's like a comparison with people like directly, like, oh, so-and-so, you know, is this and I'm not. It's more just like, wow, look at all of these people that are in this, and like then making sure that you're like also in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely caused me to like reflect a lot more on like my why, and you know, just all of those things that I never thought about really before social media. So it's kind of, I feel like for me, a little backwards.
And it's funny that you bring that up, actually, because I feel like I was saying too, like I was so naive to like bodybuilding, like what it really was, and kind of like what exactly, like I didn't really have a why. I just did it because I joined this gym that a lot of local, small time competitors competed out of, and kind of caught wind of it and was like, okay, like maybe I'll give it a go and see how, you know what I mean? Like, and I was also like trying to like find something to like, that was me, you know what I mean? Like I'm a young, very like young mom, like I'm constantly doing things for like everybody else and running around and everything. So like, that was kind of my, like, okay, like maybe this can be something that I have for me. So like, yeah, you didn't like have the pressure, like you didn't have the I have to show up and like I have to be first place. I've got to get first call out. Like you just didn't know what you didn't know. So yeah, Alyssa, I think that was a good point of like, we see it so much more now. And it is like, unfortunately, like it feels very prevalent in the sport of bodybuilding, like with sponsorships and stuff like that. You got to post a certain amount of times, like you got to keep up with posting or stories or real, like, and it takes time to do this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's a, quick click, there and done. So I don't know, like it is a very interesting thing that like the more time that social media has been around, like I feel like it is like you realize like you're such a small fish in the pond, like so many people that do. I say so many people, but like for what we know, and like it just feels like how am I gonna stand out? You know what I mean? Like how am I gonna be the girl? Like there's a figure competitor here actually in figure pro, IFBB figure pro here in Maine as well. Her name's Kaylee Walker. She's super cool, honestly. We should have her on sometime. But she's kind of like one of those stories of like, kind of like a fast track to pro status. I honestly like, she can tell her own story. I can't recall how many shows she did before she actually turned pro, but I remember her telling the story of like, we just decided to like go for a national qualifier just to see like how I stood against, some other girls. And she just happened to like get her pro card. And it's like, and not that there's any sort of like, she's super cool. Like we're obviously like, we're both figure competitors here in Maine. But it's just like, I felt like before, like I really knew her when I realized that like, and not that like I had any sort of claim to like anything whatsoever, but I was like, damn, like I wanted to be like the first like figure pro in Maine or something. Like,
yeah.
Like again, just like comparing myself to like, she did it in like 3 shows or whatever, and like I am like I've done, 3 regionals and I'm still not even like placed it, you know what I mean? So like you kind of start to think that like, am I actually good enough to do this? And like, not having really stood against, again, obviously like national level girls that look how you're supposed to look, you're just like, am I wasting my time, but like, okay, like I'm spending a whole nother year to like focus on whatever to like get to the next point in this bodybuilding sort of like ladder. And yeah, I don't know, it can be tough, but
for sure. I definitely had a moment like, so I primarily powerlift. I did bodybuilding very briefly in 2021, went right back to powerlifting, and I did bodybuilding this past year. But I definitely had a moment right before Olympia. I was like, almost like an identity crisis. I was like, I'm a powerlifter and I'm competing against bodybuilders. What am I doing here? This is not okay. I need to go home. But as soon as I stepped on that stage, it like, I didn't feel nervous. I didn't feel anxious or anything. I just felt like I was right at home. So I would consider myself still very new to bodybuilding because I was powerlifting for like 7 years, but I've only been a bodybuilder for like a year and a half, trained like a bodybuilder for about a year and a half. So I'm definitely playing the comparison game. Even more so, like it wasn't as bad like before Olympia, but after, because my coach, he brought me up really fast. As far as like food and body weight and things, whereas other coaches take that process really slow. So some competitors like Angie Eo, she's still
lean as
hell. Lean as hell. Michaela Acock, she's lean year round.
Oh my gosh,
I am not lean. Well, I'm not saying I'm fat. But I'm not.
No, but yeah, you're not.
I don't look like that.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely like comparing myself a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely feel post show. Yeah, you never know like how they're handling it. You don't know what kind of body type they are. Like that's and that's kind of actually a good point too. Is like something I've kind of had to have a conversation with myself too. Like when you do these comparisons, like you also have to be realistic. Like I'm not gonna look at someone with a totally different structure than me with like an itty bitty waist and be like, oh, I can stand next to that. Something like, but I do have some things that are decent that I can play, and it all just depends what the judge is looking for, you know. So that kind of ties into as well, like, you know, knowing there's so many nationals competitors that just got off stage and seeing some of their check-ins and being like, damn, how are they losing weight and getting leaner and I'm growing, you know? And it's not that food is high, it's just that everybody's body responds so differently and you have
for sure
no idea what they're doing, you know? So it's like
yeah,
that is very funny because I feel like, I don't know, like I probably say like my I guess like how do I word that? Like my true like bodybuilder, like this sort of bodybuilding mindset of like kind of, you know, getting down to like knowing my why, like no, like all of that stuff. Like I'm in such a different bodybuilder mindset than I was like 3 years ago. But thinking that like, I don't know, like probably up until like a couple years ago, I thought everybody kind of, you know, did their post show the same, you know, and, you know, everybody kind of slowly worked food back in and, you know, and I, or, you know, I don't know. I just feel like, not that I struggle, I guess, with post show, but I like food.
Same, girl, same.
It's easy to be like, oh, it'll go straight to the delts, right?
Yeah, right. And like, I don't know. And like, again, this isn't to like throw the comparison like within this like group of 4, but you know, like I see someone that like your check-ins, Jessica, and I'm like, I do not look like that right now,
girl.
Like I think that like, and like again,
give me your quads. Just give me your quads.
All the like little like thoughts, but just like, yeah, you know, maybe if I didn't, you know, take the eating up super quick, like maybe I could still kind of look like within like, you know, what's acceptable for like 4 weeks post show, but it's like it's acceptable for 4 weeks post show, you know, like.
But here's
you know, and that's kind of like my indicator is like lifts are good, I'm feeling good, like, you know, I'm not up like 30 pounds, but I'm up probably 20 pounds or so, 15, 20 pounds. And
but here's why this is like a perfect example of, you know, why you don't go down that road. You have a family that you spend wonderful time with over the holidays, as you should have. I don't have family out here and I didn't go home. You know? So I didn't really feel compelled to do anything. If I was home with my family, like you better believe I'd be enjoying Christmas and New Year's. You know, so. And
that's another thing. That's actually like, thank you. That's a very good point to bring up is, and I actually kind of had this like fleeting thought like throughout the week. I can't remember like what brought it up, but like, yeah, like I, like there are people that literally like, they may be single, they are living like in their own home. Like I've got a 10-year-old son that's got Cheez-Its and fucking fruit snacks.
I would be snapping.
I grab a handful of Cheez-Its like every night, you know? And I feel like you kind of have to like, I don't know, that was like a very good, like, okay, maybe I don't like feel so bad about it. Cause like, you know, like you are right. Like I've got it literally all around me. Like I'm not so just bodybuilding right now. Like usually my off seasons are like giving back to like my son and stuff and like doing more stuff with him. And like, you know, his whole thing is like, yes, like heck yeah, like we can have like, you know, steak together, we can have pizza together or something like that. So like, yeah, you know, on the weekends, like I'm a little looser and, you know, we might do like a takeout or something like that. And yeah, so like that very much is something that like I need to remind myself too. It's like, it's not.
And that's so much more important. It really is, you know, like that's what you're going to look back on and remember.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's true. It's not going to be so much like sure, nailing a reverse is like great. And it's important, you know, to some extent, like for what we do, but you're not going to like necessarily look back and be like, oh man, in like, you know, 2024, I really nailed that one reverse. Like, but you will remember the holidays with your family.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was that?
hosting that meal, cooking it all?
It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So like without like taking like the hour of conversation that it would to like talk about like why this was so important for like my parents and stuff, but I'm pretty much like the homemaker of the children. There's like 5 of us, and like I'm kind of the one that's more like, you know, closer to mom and dad and stuff like that, and like kind of starting to take over like these like traditions, and like, you know, we just got a house obviously like a year and a half ago, so having like the space to like do this stuff has always been like a want of mine, to be able to kind of like, you know, have my parents over to do Christmas and do Thanksgiving, and like I'm hosting, like I'm doing the cooking and taking care of people. And I think that just really stems from like growing up, like seeing my parents like really struggle, like really like go through the mud to like make sure that like we were fed, clothed, and, you know, and so it's just like my want to like give back to them. So it was really cool. I was able to host Christmas Eve dinner for my parents, and funny enough, after the 3 or so years that we've been together, Michael's parents, my parents met for the first time. So like, that was like really sweet and cool. And yeah, it felt really nice, and it felt really like this is like the next chapter in life of like I'm like the adult child, like taking on those like traditions and like responsibilities. And I don't know, it feels weird because it's funny, we asked Max and Ella last night, like, do we seem like adults? Like, are we adults to you guys? Like, because they're like, you know what I mean? Like, they're 19, 20, and Michael's like 35, and, you know, I'm 30, and like, do we like seem like actual adults? Because it's like, I don't know, again, like that imposter syndrome. Like, I don't feel like I should be owning a house right now, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, I honestly, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I thought that I would be in a house, even in like 10 years, I'd be like, I'd be lucky if I was like 40, 50 and like buying a house. You know what I mean? And it's just like this weird, like, how did I get here? You know, like I know like how I am as an adult, you know, and, you know, who I am as a person. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that imposter syndrome kind of gets sprinkled like everywhere in life. But
I feel that. I feel that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm 36, and I do not like whenever I still think of like a mid 30-year-old like woman, I do not think of myself.
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm like, oh, that's somebody way older than me, but it like literally is me.
Like, how did I get all these bills? I don't want all these bills.
I know. And it's like
I also think like this 30. What was that, Alyssa?
I was just gonna say it's the same thing. Like, we just got a house last year. Like, we're getting married to like talking about like maybe like having a kid, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. I also kind of feel like 35 now is so different from like 35 when we were kids. You know what I mean? Like, think of like who a 35-year-old woman was when you were a child, you know? Like I don't know. I just feel like it's not who 35 is today. Like, that's completely changed. So it does feel very much like I'm almost 30. Like, shouldn't I like be a little bit more advanced in life than I am for a 30-year-old, you know? Yeah. Hunter, you're about 30, right? You're 29, 30?
30.
Yeah, that's right. You just had your 30.
Yeah. It's weird. I definitely had the moment where I was like, there's no way. Like, how is that possible? There's no way. But good.
Sorry, I have a mouthful.
You're good.
Jessica, I don't remember, how old are you?
I'm gonna be 35 soon.
Okay, so we're all like,
yeah, so I'm right behind you.
Yeah, we're all in the 30s club then.
Close. June 26th. I'm coming up on it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
It'll be a big one. I feel like, so I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as I get older, like my hormones are so like all over the place. Like, I cry at everything. Like, I don't know. Like, I would say like I'm usually like a pretty like emotionally intact person, like whatever, like through life and everything. But I swear when I tell you that like I get choked up like seeing like an elderly couple like holding hands and like being all like cutesy, and I don't know. I feel like the idea of like turning 30. So I've always, weirdly enough, I've always had this like fear of getting old. Like, I distinctly remember it was like 6th or 7th grade, and we were in like the auditorium. It was like, I don't know what it was like Green Week or whatever, Earth Week or something, and we were watching some sort of like documentary in the auditorium, and this elderly couple came on the screen, and just like, I didn't know what a panic attack was at the time, but like looking back, it was definitely a panic attack. Like my heart rate started like, you know, amplifying, and like I was just like getting like hot and flushed, and like I didn't know why, and like just the idea, like the racing idea of like, and I'm a freaking like 12, 13-year-old, you know what I mean? Like what am I doing thinking about like death and like getting old and everything? But I don't know, like I've just always had this like time just feels so short, and it's getting shorter, I feel like, as I get older. And just like the idea that like, okay, 30's here, like you only have so much time to do like XYZ, or, you know, I don't know. I really hate the idea of getting old. It makes me nervous. I get like anxious about it, but
No, same. Literally same.
It doesn't feel like
I relate.
like it doesn't feel like I'm 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm like obviously not, but like I still feel like I'm like 20. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
same.
it's like a in life. Like I don't know. And I think that's like a really big thing that, or at least a positive thing I think I can take from that, is like the appreciation I have for my parents. Like as I get older, the amount that like I just like how you guys were able to do what you did at the ages that you did, like, you know, take care of 5 kids under like one single income, and you know what I mean, and be bought from like apartment to apartment. So like my parents like actually just bought their first house, which was like super, super exciting, and like, you know, very
awesome.
Yeah, like it was just like it was so sweet, and like my dad like worked so hard for it, and like it was just such a like I felt so like proud of kind of like where we were, and kind of like what he had to do to like kind of get to where they are now. And but yeah, like just like thinking back, like it's hard. You're doing everything for the first time, you know what I mean? Like, and especially as like a parent, like I'm experiencing all of these firsts constantly, you know what I mean? And like you're, as a kid, like you're so like wrapped up into thinking that like, oh, they've got it all figured out, you know what I mean? Like they're adults, they know what to do, like they, you know. And I feel like that like illusion is like fading a little bit, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you find out that like Santa Claus isn't real, like, oh shit, like my parents were literally just freaking,
They were just
left and right, you know what I
They're just
mean?
like who I am now. Yeah.
Dude, I'm out here winging it, man. I have no clue what I'm doing. That's crazy. But yeah, so I feel like that's something that I can give back to my parents, is just like, all right, you guys did pretty good for like what you had, and we're like,
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to ask you, Hunter, actually, kind of getting back to talking about between bodybuilding and powerlifting and all of that. Have you ever done like, because you said like you didn't have like any nerves or whatever getting on the stage. Did you like ever do like any sort of like performance or anything like that? Like when you were younger, like were you in any other like competitive sports or like any sort of like stage like performance, anything? Or
not really. I did sports in high school, but I went to like a microscopic high school, like small. I graduated with 26 kids. So it's like I did sports, but I don't know, you know, it wasn't.
What did you do?
Or anything. I did everything they offered. So I did track, cross country, basketball, softball. Yeah.
It's like everything you could.
I tried.
Badass.
I tried to do what?
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I was gonna do football as well, but I only have one kidney, so my mom was not too big on that idea.
That's so funny you say that, because my dad has always tried to get me to join like a women's league and do football.
Hell yeah! Oh, I'd love to.
He would have loved it. He would have loved it. So we have a couple of women's leagues out here, but yeah, I was always pretty big in sports too. Did you guys do any sports in school at all, Jessica, Alyssa?
I did not. And looking back now, I'm like, why did I not? Because I'm realizing now certain things like about my body, and I'm like, man, I should have been like a sprinter or like done something with like, I don't know, like my legs. But so I kind of wish like I would have. I did do dance at like a local dance studio. So did that competitively, and that took up like a huge amount of my time. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched like the Dance Mom shows or like cheerleading kind of shows like that. It's like literally exactly what it's like. I was at the dance studio like every day after school. We would have Saturday practices, so I'd be there from like 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. So it was pretty serious, but I got good at it, but like I was good at like the power moves, like the leaps and the stuff like that. Yeah, not so much like the gracefulness of it. And now I look back and I'm like, I probably would have been better off like doing a sport. But you know.
But see, it's funny. Before you said dancing, I was in my head like, usually I feel like a lot of bodybuilders come from like competitive backgrounds, and then there you go with the dance. And so not necessarily like a sport, but like it seems like I feel like anybody I come across that's like a, at least somewhat successful bodybuilder has had some sort of competitive sort of background or something that they went for. And like bodybuilding kind of became like, I just needed something else. You know what I mean? Like I needed something to kind of, give me that like goal to work towards, or like that challenge or something like that. What about you, Jess? Did you do anything?
I didn't do school sports, but I was always riding horses or at the barn doing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I feel like I heard you mention that before. Did you do that competitively at all?
I did. Yep. So,
yeah.
Same concept.
What's that like? I feel like that's just like a completely different.
It's honestly
world of like sport.
Honestly, I think if I hadn't been kind of like raised like that, you have to be so structured because it's like the horses are counting on you, right? They can't take care of themselves. So I feel like when you've been around that for so long and taking care of something that's like relying on you and you have no choice, it kind of transitions well to the structure of bodybuilding, because I don't remember ever really having an issue just kind of falling into the routine of bodybuilding. And I think I've always just been structured because of it, So, but I feel like it's the same thing, like you said, with any sort of competitive sport. It's just like we find things to challenge ourselves to fill our spare time with. So it's like, no matter what it is, it's just kind of like transitioning like one, some sort of driving like self improvement.
Yeah, for sure.
To the next. Because
is there anything? Well, I guess you kind of just like answered it, but like, is there anything that you would relate like to horseback riding and bodybuilding? Like, is there something that you're like, these two things kind of are like very similar in this regard or this aspect?
This probably sounds so strange.
No, I'm so excited.
But when you're training them, you kind of fall into this trap of like, there's always better, like, okay, a little bit better every day. And then you're just, as a trainer, you kind of put a lot of pressure on yourself just to like keep moving the goalpost. I'm not sure. Is that what you're asking, or more physically?
I mean, anything, what I mean? Like whatever relation.
I could have gone
between the two, whether it's psychological, whether it's, physical, like, just any, I don't know. Cause I feel like you often kind of glom onto things that are familiar.
Yeah.
Your familiar feelings. So I was just curious if there was any, like, you found something in bodybuilding that's like, oh, like this kind of feels like, like close to home, or like I can relate to this, but I guess that's probably like the structure. That's probably like the routine and stuff.
And the constant like challenge, like get better every day,
Hunter, what about you between like powerlifting and bodybuilding? Like, was there like a similar, I mean, obviously like the competition portion of it, but like, I know like about like,
it was fairly easy to like, it was pretty seamless, honestly. I went straight into it. I will say bodybuilding is definitely a lot more structured than powerlifting, because it's like powerlifting, if you don't want to do something one day, you can,
touch it around.
do it another time. But it's like bodybuilding, like it's got to get done. You got to do it at the same time. Like powerlifting, if you want to eat a little extra one day, you can, you have the leeway to do that. Obviously not in bodybuilding. But yeah, it was pretty easy to like flow right into it. I'm naturally a pretty structured person, so it just kind of came to me easy in that regard.
Right. And then training wise, I feel like, at least like what I know of is not much at all, just from like the local people that I know that like do powerlifting and stuff. The differences between that training, I'm pretty intrigued done knowing.
Yeah. So basically with powerlifting, let's say you go to the gym and it's a squat day. So you have the main movement, squats, and then your coach might program accessories. You can do it a million different ways. Whereas now I have a quads day. So it's like I do hamstring curls, and then I'll do hack squat, and then I'll do another quad. You know, it's a little very differently structured. Obviously, powerlifting is more oriented towards weight on the bar versus you do have a certain standard you have to meet in powerlifting. Like your hip crease has to go below the knee joint on squats. You have to meet certain criteria, but it's not like as long as you move the weight, you're good. Whereas training for bodybuilding, it has to be a lot more intentional.
Meticulous.
Which was hard for me to like ego-wise. To figure out like, okay, how am I? Because I was just used to like rep, like just go. Whereas now it's like, no, we need to take a few plates off and we need to move this with intention. So that was actually hard for me to get down.
Yeah.
Something you still kind of have to remind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have some days where you just want to go in and be strong and just train like a powerlifter?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, especially like my upper body days right now, I'm benching, and it's like, in powerlifting, my best bench was 369 pounds. But now,
wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Nuts, dude.
But now
Dudes that can't do that. They're
like,
strong dudes that can't do that.
Yeah. Now in bodybuilding, it's like, you're going to struggle with 175. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit. But, it's fine.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference of what training style you like better? Do you like split better than you like a bodybuilding split, or?
I would say I would say bodybuilding. Honestly, physically,
I looked at you and Hunter, you can only train one way for the rest of your life.
Bodybuilding
Training. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, which is very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, physically too, like you just feel better. Like in powerlifting, you are getting beat to shit. Like I would have wicked elbow tendonitis from squatting. My knees would hurt. Like your back hurts. Like you're just beat to shit in powerlifting. Whereas in bodybuilding, it's like you train hard. Like it hurts.
Yeah.
But like, you're, at least for me, I'm not like dying of elbow tendonitis every week like I was in powerlifting.
Yeah, this is more like sustainable to do for a longer period of time, like that training.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is random. Go ahead. This is just a totally random question. Like, how many days do you normally like have on in a powerlifting split?
So when I was powerlifting, I trained 4 days a week. So I would do a squat day, a bench day, a deadlift day, another bench day. So I benched twice.
Okay. Yeah. And then bodybuilding, are you just obviously like you're doing like a pro split, like
so I train 5 days now. I have 2 push days. I have like a quad emphasis, a hamstring glute emphasis, and then a back day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
When you turned pro and then you went back to powerlifting.
Yeah. So in 2021, I did a local show in Omaha, Nebraska. Won that. I went on to USA's, got my pro card, and then the week after that, I did Tampa Pro and I took second.
So when you were like, okay, I'm going to do a show.
Yeah.
You just for the hell of it, or were you like, no, I think I'm gonna go be a bodybuilder now?
I had cut weight for a powerlifting meet, and I was like pretty lean at the time. Like I'll send a picture to the group chat because I'm like, for a powerlifter, I'm lean.
Yeah.
Looks ridiculous. And I was like talking to my coach, and I was like, hey, like, what do you think about bodybuilding? And he's like, honestly, you look like you're 4 weeks out. And I was like, okay, let's do a show. And I just had the intention of doing one local show just to see if I liked it, just to say, you know, hey, I did it. And my coach is talking to me and he's like, hey, like, I think that there's something here. He's like, you have great development from powerlifting. I think that you need to pursue this a little bit more. And at the time, I kind of wish I would have waited because I don't think that I appreciated it as much as I would now. I was just doing it, you know. Coach said I would be good at it, so I just did it. I don't know. I definitely wish I would have waited, but it was a really freaking awesome experience.
So after Tampa, you were like immediately like,
I
so
went straight back to powerlifting. I actually did a powerlifting meet like 3 months after Tampa. Yeah. Crazy.
So is right now, like, I mean, obviously your main focus now, because you're gonna prep this year, is bodybuilding, but you won't like typically. I know that year you like went back to powerlifting shortly after the show, but like you wouldn't typically like in a year do kind of like both bodybuilding and powerlifting, or could you? You know,
you could, but I would not recommend.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it.
Okay.
Oh, I would not recommend. So you know, this sport, and I know we talked last episode about PEDs, but again, because they are obviously you know, a member of the story here. So it's like, so I did those 3 shows during the summer, and then so I was on all year until I think Tampa is what, August, and I did another powerlifting meet in December. So I didn't stop. I took PEDs for the entire year. And obviously my labs were shit. My body was shit by the end of that. So it's like I developed a debt, and it took me a while to pay that debt back.
How long
it can be done. What?
How long would you say it took to kind of get you back to like, you know, okay, periods there, like hormones are feeling kind of back to where they should be. Obviously, like labs, like the actual labs, like where they should be.
Yeah, it took me about a year.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Obviously, I definitely think that it can be done a better way. Like there's other women out there right now. There's other women who are powerlifters and bodybuilders, and they're doing it both. So it can be done. I personally chose to focus on bodybuilding for the foreseeable future because, you know, I have certain goals, and I felt like switching back and forth was delaying those goals, like making them take longer. Because it's like it takes time to build that strength back up. Coming out of bodybuilding, going back to powerlifting, takes time to get lean. It can be done, but I would probably advise that you focus on one.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
I actually am curious, was your powerlifting coach also a prep coach at the time, or had dabbled in like bodybuilding prep? Was that the person that actually ended up prepping you for bodybuilding?
So I had 2 coaches at the time. So one coach did my training.
Oh no, so I'm sorry. I'm such a filler. Like I'm just like agreeing and like nodding.
Oh yes, sorry. And then I was already working with a prep coach or in powerlifting.
Okay.
Like he did my diet, he consulted on my PEDs, and that's the person who was like, hey, I think you've got something here. You need to come to this side. Like stop.
Sweet. Is it also like, I'm curious to know, like, because obviously you have very high accolades in powerlifting. Was it kind of like, okay, I've reached this like echelon of powerlifting, and now like I need a new challenge, like I need something to kind of push me a little bit more, like?
No, actually. I currently am ranked 3rd in the world for powerlifting. And I don't feel like I've done enough
Okay.
on that side. You know, like I don't
Okay.
know. So I feel like there's more work to do over there. I think it was just like genuine curiosity that led me to bodybuilding because I wanted to see what I could do.
Yeah.
And now that I have an idea of what it could be, if I, really focus and give it the time that it deserves, it could be something really, really great. So I want to go for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever foresee yourself, like, I mean, who knows? Like, never say never,
Going
right?
back?
Yeah, going back to powerlifting.
Yeah. I'll go back
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're so young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
30, freshly 30. You got some time.
Yeah, I'll go back one day. Because there's like a lot of there's like the heaviest squat in the world for a woman. I'd love to go back and get that.
There is like all these like little like levels, right? It's not just like you've won a pro show or you know what I mean? Like I feel like there is so many of these little like accolades within like, getting like best in, first in the world or third in the world, or something like that.
You can be best in your weight class, you can be best in the world, you can have the best squat, the best deadlift, the best bench. Like there's a lot.
I've thought about it. I've thought about like I don't know, because I feel like I'm generally speaking for a lady pretty strong.
You're very strong.
Like,
very strong.
Mind of like if I really like, put my time and effort into it, like how much could I squat? Like if I'm doing 3 plates for some reps, like how far could I like really go?
How many reps?
Max. Huh?
How many reps?
Usually like 8 to 10. And when I was doing it, when I was like in it and like going because like I really don't like free weight squat anymore. Like my PR was 3 plates for 8 reps, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like go powerlift. Go powerlift.
I mean,
I just like
just try it.
I just feel like it's so fucking hype, dude. Like I feel like going
a powerlifting meet, it is
bodybuilding
awesome.
show. It's like going to a pageant versus like going to this like freaking like hype, just everybody, the energy's there, everyone's screaming at you.
Everyone's yelling. It's powerlifting meets are a lot of fun.
I don't know, because I feel like Michael talks about it all the time about how like he doesn't necessarily like love the stage, but like he loves the moment of like, you kind of do like your first mandatories, and then when you're like, all right, fellas, let's see the front double bicep. And like everybody's just kind of like they're in it, like they're like 27 or like just like freaking out. But like I feel like we never like at least I've never like seen that on like the figure side. Like Jessica, can you say that like people are like standing up and scream like
Get off the stage. You want to see the boys. Hurry up.
Seriously.
So yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that excitement from like a power because I've gone to like a few of them. Obviously, like had some friends at power and everything. Like I don't know. It just seems so like I don't know, hype and really cool and fun to like dabble in one day. Maybe I'll come knocking on your door, Hunter, for some.
Good. Do it.
Maybe that'll be what I do in 2026.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like one of those people that always gets so caught up in like the form of the movement. I don't know if this is from like dance background or what, because everything with dance is like technical, like technique and, knowing exactly where your body is in like space and, all that. But I've always had a hard time with like the intensity of training because I'm so caught up in, my form, it needs to be perfect. Like it has to be just perfect. So like, I'm always like trying to balance, like, should I go heavier or should I make sure my form is perfect? So that's kind of like where I struggle with my training. So I'm like, I don't know if powerlifting would be for me, but
just like yank and rip some weight and just to get it out, But I also feel like that's tough too, because I kind of back to like the comparison game, like how other people train and stuff, like am I kind of training the right way, like for what I'm trying to, what I'm after or whatever, like, should I kind of be like slowing down the movements a little bit more and like squeezing a little bit more, or like Jessica and I kind of talk about it sometimes, like sometimes I just want to fucking go in there and just like rip some weight off the ground, and it's just like, is that detrimental? Is it like, am I gonna, say, man, I really should have spent more time like focus on the contraction or whatever, or something like that. But it's just, I also think too, like bodybuilding is very much like, I think I said it last time, of like, do it how you like to do it. I mean, like there's no like right way. There's no like one way to bodybuild. But I mean, I enjoy bodybuilding because I enjoy enjoy being a figure competitor, I guess, because I enjoy like the style of training that like comes with it, like I enjoy like the heavy upper body days and like, the just the hard leg days that it took to like get my legs to grow and stuff. And like, I really lived in like those just, those moments of training. And I don't know. I feel like I guess there's really no one right way, but
yeah, I think it's whatever works for you. Like, if you do want to just go all out and like go crazy in the gym and like you grow, you know what I mean? Like whatever way like you're growing and like it just works, then I don't see any harm in it. I think a lot of times like we do overcomplicate like what we need to do with our training. And I think it can just be, doesn't have to be like always as structured as like what we think it needs to be, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. And like, I think that kind of goes back into too, just like how much information's out there. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't, again, like when kind of first starting training with like bodybuilding, like I wasn't looking at Mr. Dr. Science, whoever, like to, get the best weight on how to contract like this certain muscle or muscle connection. Like I was just freaking lifting weight. Like I enjoyed training and like, I don't know, like at the end of the day, like if I don't like the training that I'm like, if I was told that like, hey, in order to keep competing in figure or to keep competing as a bodybuilder, like you can't, like you can't deadlift anymore, like ever again, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to do it because like I enjoy my training too much. And I feel like if I'm not enjoying the training aspect, then why would I be a bodybuilder? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like the work that's being done,
Yeah. The process is like the most rewarding part. The person that you become in the process, that is the beauty of it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's
like little caterpillars in our cocoons.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird, like this is kind of like sparking something right now for me. It's like with moving from women's physique to wellness, for me, it's like now you're telling me you can't train upper body anymore, which is like, for me, weird. And my upper body has definitely come down. Like Ben and I were like doing some posing after our workout today, and he was like hitting his front relaxed, and I like went into mine and I was like, oh my gosh, like where's my shoulders? Like where's my, like where is everything? And it was just so weird. And
that'd
it just
be crazy.
And it was wild. But it's this weird like back and forth for me where like I feel like, yes, I'm more suited for wellness. I think like if I was gonna do like super well in women's physique, it would take me, I could do it, but it would take a lot more time. A lot more PEDs, like all sorts of things that I'm like, I don't know. If I want to go there. And with wellness, I think it's a little bit more like where my body is more comfortable. But it's hard because now it's like, well, I don't love that I can't train upper body. So we have to like fit into our divisions too. So it is like, it's this weird kind of balance, trying to figure out like what's most important to you, So it's definitely been an adjustment, but yeah. I'm like, whenever bodybuilding is done, like I will go back to training upper body. So I mean,
so you have 3 training days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's like one is like a quad focused, one is more glute and hams, and then the other one is just like core work, and that's it. I mean, it's so weird. Yeah.
I feel, and I think you mentioned it last time too, but like I really would feel like, am I doing enough? Like, am I just okay? Like, I don't know, because I feel like you also probably had to like adjust from like the energy expenditure. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, so is cardio like higher at all to like make up for that, or?
Right now, cardio is like just 20 minutes every day. Like it's not anything crazy like hard. I mean, it's like steady state cardio. But I am typically somebody that when I'm trying to get lean, like I have to do a lot of cardio.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially now, you know, even last prep, I was still training upper body twice a week, just like pump work. It wasn't like really necessarily trying to grow. So, but I was still getting that expenditure, and now it's going to just be like twice a week training legs and like some core. So, I mean, I don't know how my cardio may be this time.
So yeah, now you're eliminating those two like pump workouts. So I mean, I know for me, I'm like big on the whole like nothing should really quote unquote like change like largely from like an off-season going to a prep. Like, pretty much just eating less of the same food and you're doing the same workouts and you know what I mean. But like closer to the show, like the goal isn't like PRs or anything like that. But like, so do you like foresee like needing to like add in other days of like you're like doing like some sort of like circuit work or something like just to kind of get the, or do you just think it's just going to be a matter of mitigating cardio and food and stuff?
I don't know if we'll end up adding in like another day or not of like legs.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm really not sure. Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on like what my coach's plan is, but I just whatever he says, like I just go with it. Definitely even last prep, I was like, are you sure I should be training upper body? And he was like, let's just keep doing what we're doing and like go into the shows. And like, you know, sure enough, the feedback was like, your upper body needs to go. Yeah. So it needs to come down. So we pulled it and it's definitely, it's weird, but I do like cardio. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a cardio bunny, but like I love doing like HIIT cardio and like I love like getting on the spin bike and like doing sprints and stuff like that. So I guess if I can like do more stuff like that, that's kind of like athletic and then training, like I'll be okay.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Sweet. Well, ladies, this one actually went a little bit longer, which is nice. About an hour 20 here.
Yeah, this one was good.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anybody else have any other like questions or anything? Or no, we good. We good.
Anyone drop their discount codes.
Actually, this is like so like okay, so no, like this is so just like again like imposter syndrome or whatever. But I recently did get sponsored by my suitstress.
Awesome!
Which is really freaking amazing, as all of you ladies know how expensive our freaking suits are. Like if there was any sponsorship I would want, like it would be this one. Like just like, take care of my suits. Like I'll do whatever I got to do, but. So that's really cool. So Crystal Bikinis, I put her information in like the intro and the outro and all that good stuff, but Chey 10 gets you 10% off. She's honestly like, she's super awesome. And weirdly enough, she's local to Maine. But she's like really like getting out there. Like I'm seeing like a lot of pros like starting to use her now. And like her attention to detail is just like so incredible. Like anytime I've had like a vision or like a thought or idea, like she's just able to like execute it like so well. And just like her like turnaround time is like super crazy. Like I remember she made my suit for Connecticut and obviously like we do our measurements like 2 weeks out or whatever, you know what I mean? She starts making it about like 10 weeks out and we're realizing that the top is a little too small. So we were like probably like 2 weeks before the show and I sent it like mailed it back to her. So she's like far enough away in Maine that like it's not like a 10-minute drive down the road. So like I sent my suit back to her, made the corrections, literally got it back to like, so it was like a holiday weekend even too. So I had to wait until Tuesday to send my suit out. And now we're like, this is like about a week and a half from the show. So she got it and literally like got it back to me in like 2 days. Like it was just like super fast, but I love her. She's so great. So yeah, I guess that's my plug. Chey 10, Crystal Bikinis.
Yeah.
And Peaches. Hi. Oh, she's so freaking cute. She has like
I love her. Okay.
Oh, so adorable. All right, ladies. Well, this has been fabulous. I'm gonna go probably finish this meal and have another meal because I'm a little behind on my meals. But
same.
Feel free anytime. Like anytime, like you need to have like a meal or whatever. Obviously, like don't hesitate to like bring it to this.
Okay.
Please.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Night. Yeah.